For this hack, we're going to use the Pickup League Baseball project, On the Lake Cottage Sign project, Mother's Garden #1 project, and the font is going to be the Palantino linotype. Okay, for this hack, we're going to use VCarve Pro version 8. We're going to start off by creating a new file. And this hack, we're going to make it so that it will fit, or we're going to lay it out, so that it'll fit into a 13 by 13 inch piece of wood, 3/4 inch thick. We're going to make sure the datum is set to the center of the wood. It's in inches, and we're going to use a very high resolution. And we're just going to click OK. We'll go to our clip art tab, and for this particular hack, I think we are going to make a garden plaque. So we're going to start off in the true tradition of a hack, and we're going to use a baseball, one of the models from the Pickup League baseball project, and we're going to use the plaque here, the baseball diamond, and we are going to rotate that by grabbing this corner here, and we're going to hold down the shift key until it's square, and then we are going to press T on the keyboard, and we're going to size it up to be about 10.5. That's perfect. I'm not going to worry about the Z height right now, but we will flip to our 3D view so that we can see it in 3D. We're going to add to that now the ribbon from the new cottage sign #2 on the lake, and that's this guy right here. One of the great things about this ribbon and the way that it was designed is that it's high on the end, so you can wrap it around the edge of any of these plaques that we have, or sign shapes. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to hold down our shift key, and we're going to size it up just so the tails, the left and the right tail there, just tuck around it. That looks pretty good. Then we're going to grab the center point, hold down the shift key, and we're going to move it down to right about there. Looks pretty decent. Still, we haven't played with the Z heights yet, and that's okay. We're going to lay everything out first, then we're going to go ahead and mess around with the Z heights. So now we're going to go to the Mother's Garden project, and we're going to use the tulip #1. Double click on that. And when it comes in, it's set to merge. If you right click on it, you'll see that the merge, the combine one is set to merge, which is great. So we're going to rotate that around a little bit until it gets right about like that. And then we're going to scoot it over to the side, and we're going to size it up a little bit. And because it's merged, we can tuck the end of it into the bottom of our sign shape here. We're going to bring it up a little bit bigger. And what we're looking to do is I want to leave enough room in here and here and in here for our cutter to get in there and clean that all out for us. And that looks pretty good. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab our tulip #2, and we're going to move him over to here. And we'll probably rotate it a bit as well. And what we will begin with this particular tulip head, we want to make sure that we can get our cutter in here, so we're going to have a nice clean cut. Just kind of move it up and around a little bit. That looks pretty good, I think. So there's our layout as I see it. Maybe we're just going to make this tulip a little bit bigger, and then we're going to scoot it over a bit this way. That's better. Perfect. Now we're going to make a few little adjustments here. First, we're going to fix our Z heights, and then we're going to worry about our tulip here and how it fits in. So in this particular piece of wood that we have, it's 3/4 inch thick. So we're going to make our layout a 1/2 inch tops, like the max. So let's double click on the ribbon, and we can do one of two things. We either click the control point down here, the blue one, and it will bring up our properties, or we can go to our modeling tab and click the wrench or spanner, and it will give us the same information but over here on the side. So, but for this, we're going to use the one that pops up that we can move around. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure that the shape height isn't any more than a 1/2 inch. Close that down. And now we're going to go fix our frame here, or our frame, but our plaque shape. We're going to do the same thing. Click the blue button, pull it up here, and we're going to change that to be about 0.3 probably would be good. We'll see how that looks. We're looking for a little bit of separation here, so there's a little bit of a step going on. It looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead and grab our tulip here, and we're going to bring it down just a hair just so that it fits a little bit further. Let's just make that 0.4. Looks pretty good. We'll close that. Oh shoot, sorry, I didn't mean to close that. Okay, now I can't grab the tulip. So if I right click on it, or I click off here, my goodness. I can grab the tulip one and re-click it again, and now I can get a hold of my control point here. Pop it up here. We're going to change this now. This needs to fit inside of this, but I'm not going to worry so much about what's going on down here. I just want to make sure there's a good step here, and that it's no taller than ½ inch. So that's good. Close that. And now what we're going to use is the tilt feature. So we're going to, the fade feature. So we're going to click fade. And what that's going to do is it's going to fade this model from here to there. And so we're going to set our 2 points, our fade points around there and there. And it automatically gets set to 50%. So at this end of our model, it's 50%, the Z height has been reduced by 50%, and it gets less faded as it moves up to your start point. And that looks pretty good. It fits nicely in there, no problem. Maybe we'll just make it a little bit more. So let's make it like 65. I want a nice good definition going on there. Okay, perfect, close. That's great, wonderful. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lay out some text for V carving. So let's split the screen, and to do that we're going to use the page up button on our keyboard. And we're going to go over to our drawing tab, and we're going to pop in a couple lines here. But before we do that, I just noticed that the bitmaps are not in a particularly good order for us to be able to see our ribbon. So if we select the ribbon, right click on the bitmap and say move to front, then we can actually see the ribbon and it's not obstructed by the other models. So that way when we lay in our line from here to there, I can see exactly where I need to do it. So we're going to hover over that. We're going to go into node mode. And then we're going to hover over that line. You'll see the little squiggly line below my pointer. If I right click on that, I can say turn to Bezier, or I could have just clicked B on the keyboard and it would turn it into a Bezier. And we're just going to shape that a bit to fit better. I'm just looking to see, to make sure that the distance here is pretty good. That looks pretty decent. Press escape, select that, select it again. And then we're gonna, when we drag it, we're gonna hold down the Control and the Shift key. So Shift will keep it in a straight line, and Control will make a copy of it. And then we're just gonna make a little bit of a change there. That's great. We've got those 2 lines now, and we're gonna do just hold the Control key down. And because I had them both selected, it's gonna copy both of them over to this side of the ribbon. That's great. And those are the 2 rails we're gonna use to distort our text in between. Let's grab our text, and we're going to use the Palantino linotype font, sure. And we're going to say, type in mothers, M-O-T-H-E-R''S. Make sure it's set to bold, and we're going to hit apply. And we're just going to drag it over here so we can see it a bit better. Close that, and we're going to use our distort selected object. So if I click that, what I can do is I can distort this between 2 lines. So I have my text selected. I'll hold down my Shift key, and I'm going to select the bottom line, the top line. And because the way I drew them, those lines, I started on my left, went to my right, then they're in the right direction. If they're in the wrong direction, you'd have to hover over the line while it was selected, the individual line, right click on it, and change the end of or reverse your line. But in this case, I don't have to do that. So those are all selected. We're going to go between 2 curves, and because I select them in the proper order, everything's good. I'm going to click apply, close. Wonderful. And then we're going to go ahead and type in the next bit of text, garden. Garden, make sure it's bold, click apply, close. Do the same thing, that's selected. We're going to select the bottom line, top line. Then we're going to go ahead and distort the text between 2 curves, click apply, click close. So we're going to use those to do our V carving with. So everything is pretty much laid out now, proper as far as I can tell. We need one more thing though. If we plan on doing a cutout pass around this, we need a vector that is the goes around the whole outline of our project. In this case, it's pretty easy to find. So we go to our modeling tab, and I select the ribbon and shift select the frame here of the sports plaque. Then I can go ahead and click this button, which is create vector boundary from selected components. And Aspire or VCarve Pro will give me an outline, the same in Aspire and same with VCarve Desktop. So now I have an outline to use as my cutout pass. So that's perfect. So let's press F12. That's going to bring up our toolpath tab. And we're going to set our material, make sure it's set up properly. So it is set to 3/4 of an inch. The datum's in the center. We're going to put the gap below our model, so the extra 1/4 inch to the bottom. And these ones here, of course, will depend on your machine. So I'm just going to click OK. We're going to start off with doing our roughing pass. I'm just going to use the default setter here. So we're going to use a model boundary. I'm going to use the 1/4 inch end mill, which is great. We're just going to click calculate. There we go. Let's preview that tool path. Looks perfect. Let's close that. Let's go ahead now and do our finishing pass. We're going to use the 1/8 inch. We are going to use the model boundary. That all looks good. We're going to click calculate, and Aspire is going to work some magic. It'll take a second. You'll see down here at the bottom, the Aspire VCarve Pro. You'll see at the bottom here that the yellow line is going across. Doing some pretty heavy math there. There we have it. So let's preview that toolpath. It should clean up quite nicely. And you'll see that we left enough room in here so that the cutter could get in cleaned out nicely. The cutter can get by there. The cutter could get in here. It might take you a couple tries to get it right, but that looks pretty decent to me. Let's close that down. Let's do our V carving. So we're going to grab the mother. We're going to select the mother's text, or shift select the garden text. We're going to go to our V carving. And we are going to make, all of this is fine. We're going to use the 90-degree V-bit, but we want to make sure that we're going to project the toolpath onto the 3D model. We're going to calculate that. We'll preview that. Looks pretty nice. And then we're going to go ahead and do our cutout pass. We're going to grab this outline. We're going to go and make a profile toolpath. Our start depth is going to be at 0.5, and we're going to go down from that a 1/4 inch. So if you add those two together, that equals the thickness of our material, which is 0.75. We're going to use the 1/4 inch end mill. Normally we would add tabs in, but for this little demonstration, I'm not going to add the tabs in. That way I can delete the extra material that's around the outside. And we're going to go ahead and go calculate. We'll preview that toolpath. Then we can double click on this extra material and it will go away. We'll maximize this, and look at that. That is a nice looking garden sign, ready to go, and it took about 15 minutes to put together and to set up the tooling for. Not too bad.